The homeless response system is a term often used amongst those working to address homelessness. But what does the homeless response system really entail? Who does it include, and how does it work? The following video will provide an overview of the homeless response system. A homeless response system is a coordinated network of services and programs designed to prevent and address homelessness as quickly as possible. It typically involves multiple partners and entities working together to provide housing, shelter, and supportive services. The goals of an effective homeless response system are to prevent homelessness when possible, identify households experiencing homelessness, connect people with housing quickly, and provide services when needed. You will often hear the term homeless crisis response system or crisis response system to ensure one's homelessness is treated as a crisis with as rapid resolution as possible. A community's homeless response system often includes an array of resources funded by federal, state, and local governments, private nonprofits, and philanthropists. Different resources come together to provide key components of a homeless response system. Let's go over those components now. Let's start at the entrance of the homeless response system, often called the front porch of the system. In many communities, the homeless response system becomes involved at the point of a person's housing crisis. The person might reach out to help through a hotline or reach out to service organizations who may be able to help this person avoid homelessness with services or financial assistance. In some situations, service organizations or other institutions of care, like hospitals or child welfare, may identify a person who is discharging from their care without safe, stable place to live. In an effective homeless response system, homeless service providers would coordinate with other systems of care to help this person avoid homelessness. The front porch of the system also includes outreach teams who work to connect with people experiencing homelessness, particularly those living outside. When the homeless response system or other systems of care are not able to prevent someone's homelessness, they access crisis services. Crisis services refer to the interventions that are meant to be temporary and immediately available resources, giving individuals and families a safe place to stay while they figure out their next steps. Types of crisis services include emergency shelter or other crisis-oriented beds, and host homes where a family in the community temporarily shelters an individual. For people in unsheltered living situations, outreach teams intervene to provide basic needs and help people determine their next steps, including housing. An important goal of the homeless response system is to connect people with housing quickly. There are several types of housing interventions that people experiencing homelessness can access, including transitional housing, which is time-limited housing with roommates, private rooms, and sometimes even private apartments, with services to help people prepare for long-term housing, like a private market apartment paid for independently. Rapid rehousing, which provides short to medium-term subsidies and services with the goal of helping people achieve housing stability and economic viability. Permanent supportive housing, which offers long-term subsidies and wraparound supportive services to help individuals and families with more intensive needs. Host homes, which in addition to being a crisis service, can also be a housing option if the goal of the host family is to provide longer-term housing, often used in situations where someone is completing an education program or entering the workforce. People experiencing homelessness may also reconnect with family while sometimes still receiving services through the homeless response system to regain stability. This is known as family reunification. The homeless response system explores all possible housing options, including any family, friends, or others in a person's natural support networks that could be a safe and stable option. Now that you're familiar with the common components of a homeless response system, let's talk about what happens behind the scenes to make these different components work together. The homeless response system may have one or more planning groups that bring together organizations and partners who are working to end and prevent homelessness. Under the Continuum of Care program requirements, communities are required to establish a network of entities to operate a homeless response system. In Rhode Island, this group is known as the Rhode Island Continuum of Care. The Continuum of Care and other state planning groups focused on housing and services for people experiencing homelessness would coordinate efforts to bring together stakeholders for input. Effective systems also coordinate the resources from federal, state, local, and private sector funding to build out a comprehensive infrastructure to address homelessness. Every homeless response system is different and is tailored to meet the needs of the homeless population locally. There are, however, key elements that make homeless response systems more effective. Having a defined mission and vision for the homeless response system gives the community a North Star to work towards. This can influence the interventions and funding the network pursues, changes the system prioritizes, and keeps the system accountable to shared principles. Clear roles and responsibilities help systems determine how to work together and carry out the various functions of the system. To ensure consistent and quality practices are being implemented, effective systems establish practice standards to be implemented by network providers and opportunities for regular capacity building, including training. Lastly, effective systems establish a process for continuous quality improvement, regularly evaluating if the outcomes of their system efforts align with their goals and performance measures. These goals and performance measures are driven by their mission and vision. We hope this brief overview gives you an idea of how homeless response systems typically work. You can learn more about the local homeless response system in Rhode Island by visiting continuumofcareri.com.